Welcome to the Time Traveling Team, the podcast where we review every episode of Doctor Who right from the very beginning. I'm Paddy.
And I'm Tricia. This week we join the Doctor and Ace in the final story of the season as they visit the greatest show in the galaxy. As usual, we'll be discussing the Doctor, companions, and villains, and giving our thoughts on the story as a whole.
We'd also love to hear your thoughts on this story. So in order to join the discussion, you can check us out on our socials at TimeTeamp, that's TIMETEAMP, or you can email us at timetravelingteam@teamproductions.com. So, here we are, the season finale, and this one must have been torture for you.
It wasn't pleasant. I should
Yeah.
put it that way. It wasn't pleasant, and long-term listeners will already know why. But
Yep.
we'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on.
Yes. So, in order to get there, we've got to go through the story summary. So, I will lead us off. Part 1. In a mysterious psychic circus called the Greatest Show in the Galaxy, an energetic ringmaster performs a rap that promises an unseen audience an evening of spectacles and performances that they have never seen before. Elsewhere, on the TARDIS, a strange probe materializes inside the ship and attaches itself to the console. A video comes on the view screen inviting them to the circus. The Doctor is enthralled by it, but Ace switches it off, labeling it boring as she talks about a time that she went to the circus back on Earth. She also mentions being uncomfortable with the clowns that were performing there as well. The Doctor says he would be interested in taking part in the talent show that was mentioned in the video, intending to play the spoons. Suddenly, the video restarts and a voice from the probe says that Ace is scared. Ace denies this and, with some gentle coaxing from the Doctor, agrees to go to the circus. The TARDIS lands on Segonax, where the circus is located, and the Doctor and Ace exit, unimpressed with the arid surroundings, which were completely different to the lush and vibrant landscape shown in the video. They see a woman at a nearby vegetable stall and go over to ask her for directions to the circus. The woman is abrasive towards them, labeling them as weirdos, but the Doctor assures her that they are just honest travellers. As a way of appeasing her, they buy some produce so that he and Ace As a way of appeasing her, he buys some produce so that he and an unimpressed Ace can eat it to show their good intentions. As from the planet, a young man and woman, Bellboy and Flower Child, are chased across the desert by a hearse driven by clowns dressed as undertakers, who seem to be tracking them via a pair of kites flying high in the sky. They take a brief rest by a pond, and Bellboy says that he will try and draw their pursuers away and hopefully find their goal destination. Flower Child gives him one of her earrings and kisses him for luck, telling him to be careful. A short while after he leaves, Flower Child goes for a look around and comes across an abandoned bus covered in graffiti. She sees a painting of someone resembling Bellboy and goes inside to look around. As she comes out of it again, she is captured by an unseen man. Back at the vegetable stall, the Doctor tries to convince the woman of his honest nature, but they are interrupted by the arrival of a man driving a motorized tricycle, which breaks down. Ace goes to see if there's anything she can do to help, but the man, wearing leather armor and a large batwing helmet, angrily threatens her to stay back. The woman, in a tone of disgust, says that he is probably going to the circus, which draws in all sorts of riffraff from around the galaxy, and that the locals won't go anywhere near it. The Doctor goes to ask the man if he would be willing to give him and Ace a lift. However, the man, who says his name is Nord, threatens them again, and they start to walk in the direction the woman indicated earlier. As they walk down the road, they are nearly run over by the hearse, but the Doctor pushes Ace out of the way. They continue on their way, and the Doctor says he feels something evil happen on the planet. Ace then spots a couple of people down by a nearby riverbed, and they go to investigate. The duo, a man dressed in a 1920s Earth explorer who introduces himself as Captain Cook, and a young woman resembling an 80s punk who calls herself Mags, greet the Doctor and Ace and invite them into their ramshackle hut for some tea. Cook says that he's an intergalactic explorer and has come to see the psychic circus due to the legends surrounding it and its talent show. The Doctor then asks about Mags, and Cook says that he found her on one of his adventures and brought her with him as his assistant. They watch as she and Ace continue to unearth a robotic skeleton Cook earlier found. Suddenly the robot activates and grabs Mags' leg before firing at the hut. Doctor rushes to save Mags as Cook watches on whilst drinking tea. Ace picks up a nearby shovel and hits the robot on the head, which shuts it down. Back at the vegetable stall, an exhausted bellboy appears just as the hearse pulls up. One of the clowns gets out and demands to know where Flower Child is, and Bellboy says that the cheese escaped and found their goal. The clown says that she will regret it and it orders the others, who are all robots, to bring Bellboy into the hearse. A short while later, the hearse arrives at the circus, and Bellboy is dragged inside, where he sees Morgana, the fortune teller. He confuses her for Flower Child, but the chief clown, dressing into his normal silver harlequin costume, tells the others to bring him into the ring. A concerned Morgana asks what they should do if the guests arrive, and the chief clown says they will carry on as normal. Meanwhile, the doctor and the others arrive at the strange bus, and the doctor says that there's something sinister about it. Cook mocks his apprehension, but the doctor says that he's grown to trust his instincts. Nevertheless, he follows Ace as she leads them into the bus, but he tells her to be careful as she sits into the driver's seat. Suddenly, a robot wearing a conductor's uniform appears and asks for their fares. It fires an energy bolt from its ticket dispenser as it approaches Cook, who flees outside saying that the doctor is the one in charge of the fares. The doctor quickly gives it a complicated ticket request, which causes the robot to pause. The doctor then examines the ticket machine and tilts it upward as he asks for a ticket. The robot then inadvertently destroys itself by activating the machine. They all go outside, and Ace gives out about Cook to the doctor, but he says that he can't help his pompous nature. Ace then spots Flower Child's earring in the dust and pins it to her jacket after gaining the doctor's approval. They then discuss the fate of the bus, and the doctor says that it must have been destroyed long beforehand, and that the evil he felt earlier must have been the homicidal conductor. Ace asks if it is related to the circus somehow, but the doctor says it is unlikely. He then says that they should continue towards it, and they get into Cook's jeep. They arrive at the circus, and Cook and Mags head in first, where they are greeted by Morgana, who has now affected a full Romani accent. She says they can't go in just yet, as there was a rehearsal underway, but the chief clown gleefully ushers them inside. They then watch as Bellboy is subjected to a strange torture, which causes Mags to scream in terror. The ringmaster activates a device which mutes her screams. Outside, the doctor leads Ace towards the circus tent, but Ace holds back, asking if he can hear the screams. He says that all he can hear is the joyful circus music, and he says that she is scared because she doesn't like circuses. Ace says that she isn't scared, and the doctor asks if they are going in or not. Part 2. Ace reluctantly follows the doctor inside the circus tent as the chief clown beckons them to come in. They are greeted by Morgana, who tries to help the visibly uncomfortable Ace relax. Morgana says that people should be allowed to express their feelings, explaining that the principle of the circus was founded on. The doctor becomes distracted by a collection of kites nearby, but turns his attention back to Morgana and asks more about the circus. He says that it seems to be well travelled based on the promotional posters on display, and Morgana says that they have been all over the galaxy before finally coming to rest on Segonax. They then hear an announcement calling for everyone to take their seats. Morgana begins to dissuade them, but she is interrupted by the chief clown, who beckons them inside. Ace reluctantly follows the doctor in, and as she passes, the chief clown sees the earring pinned to her jacket. The doctor and Ace enter the dark, empty ring and go find a seat on one of the nearby benches. They hear rustling from behind them, and they see a couple with their young daughter who are eating food and waiting for the show to start. The doctor goes to introduce himself, but they ignore him and continue to eat. The show then starts, and the doctor rejoins Ace as they watch the robotic clowns perform their acrobatic routines. The ringmaster appears and performs another rap, saying that a brand new act has arrived. The spotlight then falls on the doctor, and he nervously says that he doesn't know if he should. The ringmaster beckons him on, and despite Ace's protest, the doctor goes to the floor. Ace tries to follow on after him, but she's confronted by the chief clown, who demands to know where she got the earring. Ace flees, and he orders the robots to follow her. The doctor is shown to a dressing room where he sees Cook, Mags, and Nord sitting down to tea. However, when he enters the room, a series of cage walls come down, trapping him and the others inside. The doctor demands to know why they allowed him to be trapped, saying that he could have saved them, but Cook says that the people of the circus are more powerful than he knows. Mags tries to back up the doctor, but Cook tells her to calm down. The doctor asks about the talent show, and Cook says it is actually a contest of survival, and all will soon be revealed. The doctor says that he should have listened to Ace, and Cook agrees. Suddenly, the ringmaster's voice comes over the PA system and calls for the next contestant. Cook takes Nord on in a coin toss to determine who goes next, and wins, but Nord angrily starts to strangle him. Megs rushes to help him, but they are interrupted by the arrival of the chief clown and the robots, who drag Nord away. Cook reveals that he used double-sided coins to ensure his victory. Meanwhile, Ace arrives back at the entrance, but takes cover when she hears the ringmaster talking to Morgana, who says that they should leave, saying that what they are doing is wrong. However, he refuses to go, saying that the circus will continue to grow and become the most successful one in the galaxy. He says that they must accept what is happening or suffer the same fates as Bellboy, Flower Child, and the others who refuse to adapt. They are joined by the chief clown, who says that they still have not found Ace, but he will continue to search. Morgana asks about Bellboy, and the chief clown says that he is recovering. Ace then accidentally knocks over the stack of kites she was hiding behind and flees as the robotic clowns chase after her. Morgana goes to follow, but just then a teenage boy on a bicycle appears, saying that he has come to enter the talent show, saying that he is the #1 fan at the circus. Ace ducks into a side room and sees Bellboy chained to a workbench. She tries to talk to him, but he flinches away. She then hears someone approaching and goes into hiding, asking Bellboy not to say anything. The chief clown then appears and tells Bellboy that he needs to repair the conductor and orders the robots to take him away. Back in the ring, Nord performs a feat of strength which impresses the family. However, when he is called upon to tell a joke, he fails and they voice their disapproval. From the cage, the Doctor and Mags watch as he is reduced to a pile of ash. Grabbing a pair of juggling batons, the Doctor tells Mags to follow his lead and they start to practice. Suddenly, the Doctor says that he is next to go, but Mags argues that she is. They bicker back and forth, which draws in the robot clowns guarding them, but which allows the Doctor and Mags to knock them out. They then flee, but Cook says that he will stay behind. Elsewhere, Ace watches as the chief clown oversees the removal of the conductor, but when she tries to leave, she finds herself blocked by Deadbeat, a simple-minded janitor. Ace tries to get past him, but she is captured by the chief clown. He takes her to a storage room full of partially assembled robot clowns and locks her in. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Mags' escape is detected, and the ringmaster uses the PA system to tell them that they cannot get away. The Doctor and Mags continue to run through the various corridors of the tent and come across a large stone archway, which is covered in ancient ruins. The Doctor says he spotted something similar back in the ring. Mags seems to recognize some of the symbols and is clearly frightened by one of them that resembles a moon, but refuses to elaborate any further on it and angrily storms off through the archway. They soon come across a pitfall that emanates a strange blue glow from the bottom. The Doctor drops a juggling baton into it, and a large eye appears in the blue glow, which the Doctor says that he recognizes from the kites he saw earlier. He says that this is the source of the mystery in the circus. Before he can say anything else, he and Mags are confronted by a group of robot clowns led by Cook, who says it is the Doctor's turn in the ring. Part 3. Mags demands to know why Cook betrayed them, and he says it is a matter of survival of the fittest, and has no intention of being pushed into the ring. They are then marched down through the corridor, but when they come to the stone arch, Mags sees that the moon icon seems to be glowing brighter and begins to snarl at Cook and the robots. Cook tells her to calm down, and the Doctor uses the distraction as a chance to escape. He makes his way back to the detective booth and sees it is empty. He then notices Morgana's crystal ball glowing a bright pink, and when he goes for a closer look, the eye appears in it. He then quickly takes cover when he hears someone approach, and he watches as Deadbeat appears, clutching a medallion with the symbol of the eye on it. He sees the glowing ball and retreats back into the corridor in pain. The Doctor follows after him and confronts him in the corridors. He demands to know what happened in the circus and how he came to be like this. Deadbeat doesn't answer and instead smiles as he leads the Doctor further down the corridors. In the workshop, several of the robots come to life and advance on Ace. She pulls the arm off one of them and prepares to use it as a club. Suddenly they all come to a staggering stop and Ace knocks them over. She's then surprised to see Bellboy, who had earlier been locked in the room, but he doesn't seem to remember her from earlier. He then spots Flower Child's earring on Ace's jacket and mourns her loss. He explains that he is the designer of all the robots in the circus. He says that things were not always like that, and that it used to be a happier place before it became corrupted. Back in the cell, Cook and Mags are confronted by the chief clown, who demands to know where the Doctor is. Cook says that Mags allowed him to escape and suggests that she should be sent into the ring as punishment, but the chief clown says that Cook will be sent instead. The chief clown goes back to the ticket office where he finds the ringmaster and Morgana arguing over the glowing ball. He says that they need to have more performers for fear of upsetting their patrons. The chief clown says it is too dangerous to let the Doctor roam free and begins to argue with the ringmaster, but they're interrupted by Morgana, showing them a vision of the Doctor and Deadbeat in the hall. Back in the workshop, Ace promises to help free Bellboy, but he says there's no point as he has nothing left to live for now that Flower Child is dead. He begins to reminisce about the good days of the circus and names the other members who are long since gone. They are suddenly interrupted when Deadbeat and the Doctor arrive to free them. Bellboy spots Deadbeat and remembers that he used to be called Kingpin. He tells the confused Ace and the Doctor that Kingpin was the one who brought them to Segonax, as there was something on the planet he wanted. However, some power on the planet took him over and ruined his mind and turned the circus into a trap for other travellers. Kingpin begins to mutter about the well, and the Doctor says that he must know the answer as to what's going on. Meanwhile, in the cell, Cook is talking to the teenage boy about his adventures, as the boy is also a big fan of his. Cook takes advantage of this and says that he's willing to let the boy take his place in the ring, saying that it would be the opportunity of a lifetime. Despite Max's protest, the boy enthusiastically agrees. He is then brought out to the ring where the family, who have been growing increasingly bored and irate, look forward to his performance. However, rather than perform, he talks about his fandom and he is atomized by the unimpressed family, and his screams are heard by Mags and Cook in the cell. Back at the workshop, the doctor asks Kingpin to come with them back to the well so that he can see the eye again, but Ace says it could all be a trick. The doctor says to trust him and says that they should go, but Bellboy says that he will stay and try to stop anyone from following them. Ace tries to convince Bellboy, but he says that he has nothing left without Flower Child and tells them to hurry, giving Ace a control unit as they leave, telling her that it will be used for the robot that Mags earlier discovered buried in the ground. A short while after they leave, the chief clown appears and demands to know where the others have gone. Bellboy refuses to help him and instead activates all the robots in the storeroom and commits suicide by ordering them to kill him. Back at the ticket office, Morgana talks to the eye in the crystal ball, promising it that more acts will come and that she and the others are loyal to it. At the well, Kingpin expresses terror at seeing the eye again, but the doctor asks him why he did to summon the eye in the first place. Kingpin holds out the medallion and then falls to the ground in pain. Ace goes to tend to him and examines the medallion, noticing that the eye part of it is missing. They realize that it must have been hidden somewhere, and the doctor says that it must be on the bus, and that is why Bellboy and Flower Child went there, so they could find it and re-imprison the entity. The doctor tells Ace to go back to the bus with Kingpin to try and find the missing piece, whilst he goes to the ring to distract everyone from looking for them. Ace tells him that he is crazy, but he says that's what makes him so interesting. The doctor goes back to the holding cell and greets Mags and Cook. He tells them that he has an idea and that all three of them should go into the ring together, thereby throwing off their captors. Mags agrees and forces Cook to accept the plan as well. They are brought out to the ring, but Cook asks for moonlight to be shone into the ring. Mags screams in pain and falls to the floor as the lights hit her, and the doctor watches as she begins to transform into a werewolf. Part 4. Cook takes the ringmaster's whip and uses it to drive Mags back in an attempt to get her to kill the doctor, much to the delight of the family, who hold up scorecards showing 9s. Cook says that he has come to take the power of the entity for himself, claiming that he has the intelligence and willpower to wield it. The doctor tells him that he doesn't understand the powers he is messing with, and he is just a blowhard. A furious Cook makes Mag attack him, and the doctor climbs up a nearby scaffold. Mag chases after him, and the doctor tries to get her to revert back to her normal persona. However, she continues to attack him, and he swings from the scaffold to the platform where the family are sitting. They all suddenly stand up and look at the doctor with glowing eyes, causing the doctor to retreat back in pain. He falls back into the ring where Mags goes to attack him, and the doctor again pleads with her to regain her senses. Cook urges her to kill the doctor, but instead she turns on him and kills Cook instead, despite the doctor's begging her not to. Meanwhile, at the bus, Ace finds the box containing the missing piece of the medallion and shows it to Kingpin, who continues to rock back and forth, muttering to himself. Ace tries to get him to help open the box, but she is suddenly attacked by the recently repaired conductor. Ace fights back against it, dropping the box, which opens in front of Kingpin. He grabs the missing piece and places it back in the medallion, which restores his full faculties. He goes to help Ace, but he is thrown back by the conductor. He tells Ace to knock off its cap and hit the self-destruct button Bellboy had installed there. Ace manages to do it and steps back as the conductor explodes. Kingpin tells her they need to get back to the doctor with the medallion. Back at the circus, the doctor and Mags flee as Cook's body is taken away. The family, now speaking in deep, booming voices, demand that more acts be brought out. The ringmaster and Morgana try to appease them by saying that they will find more, but the family instead atomize them as the chief clown looks on from the shadows before leaving with the robots. The family call out for the doctor, and in the corridor he tells Mags to go find Ace and Kingpin whilst he goes to confront the family. The doctor returns to the ring, which has now been transformed into an ancient stone amphitheater. He looks up at the family, who now resemble stone statues wearing robes and helmets. He says he knows who they are and greets them as the gods of Ragnarok. He angrily berates them for the way that they use humans for their entertainment and leave them as ruined husks. The gods tell him that he cannot escape, but so long as he can entertain them, he will live. The doctor reluctantly agrees and proceeds to perform some magic tricks whilst going into a speech about how life began. However, the gods grow irate and threaten him with lightning bolts to entertain themselves. Meanwhile, Mags flees from the circus and comes across Ace and the Kingpin, and they show her the medallion. She tells him that she is being chased by the chief clown and the robots in the hearse and points to them in the distance. Ace then says she's an idea and tells them to follow her. She leads them back to the unearthed robot, and a few moments later, the chief clown and the robots arrive. The chief clown berates Kingpin for his weak leadership in the past, as he and the robots prepare to kill them all. Ace activates the robot and destroys the robots and kills the chief clown as well. Kingpin mourns his loss, saying that once upon a time he was a great clown, but Ace says that she has never liked clowns as she leads them back to the circus. In the amphitheater, the Doctor completes his magic routine before transitioning into an attempt to escape from a straitjacket. The gods say that they want something more, or they will kill him. The Doctor, who's been periodically looking at his watch throughout his routine, prepares for his big finale. Back at the circus, Ace and the others arrive as a maelstrom engulfs the tent. Kingpin warns as they go down the corridor towards the well that the gods would have felt their arrival and says that they will do anything to stop them from being imprisoned again. This proves to be correct as the gods, sensing their presence, reanimate Cook's body to chase after them. He follows them to the well and attacks Kingpin, taking the medallion from him. As Cook gloats, Ace distracts him, allowing Mags to knock the medallion from his hand, and they watch as it falls into the well. Just then, it appears in the arena into the waiting hands of the Doctor. The gods fire lightning bolts at him, but he uses the medallion to reflect them back. The bolts hit the gods, rendering them unconscious as the whole amphitheater starts to crumble. The Doctor casually walks back into the real world, where he escapes from the circus and joins the others in a nearby hill as they watch the circus explode. Kingpin says that he intends to start a new circus with Mags and invites the Doctor and Ace to come with them, but the Doctor declines, saying that he now finds circuses to be a bit sinister. End of the story. So, that is the story recap done. Now I'm looking forward to this trivia section, so I will pass it over to you.
Cool. So, the air date for The Greatest Show in the Galaxy is the 14th of December 1988 to the 4th of January 1989. The writer of the story is Stephen Wyatt. This is the second and final Doctor Who writing credit for Stephen. He also wrote Paradise Towers, which we have previously discussed. The director of the story is Alan Waring. This is the first of 3 directing credits for Alan. We'll see his work again in Ghostlight and Survival. An interesting observation is that as we seem to be coming into these final seasons, Jonathan Turner seemed, or maybe it's Andrew Cartmel, but they seem to be really just picking like 2 or 3 directors and just doing that, as opposed to getting a brand new director for every story. They seem to be really bulking directors together. When you consider there's only so many, like 4 stories in a season, the fact that he's doing 2 of next season, stands out a lot compared to previous years. So I mentioned this briefly last week, but this, or maybe it was the time before, this story had issues when it came to filming. So after the location filming had been completed, the studio sessions had to be cancelled because of asbestos contamination in the studio. At first, they thought the serial would have to be abandoned completely, but eventually it was found possible to erect a tent in the car park at Elstree Studios and film there. It was actually really lucky that they were working on this particular serial because the tents made this arrangement possible. Any other story, it really wouldn't have been able to work. But Jonathan Turner was desperate to avoid another shadow situation, and so he arranged the makeshift solution. And it's kind of believed by a lot of people who worked it, it actually probably ended up looking better this way than it would have the original way. Obviously, we don't know that because we'll never see it, but whatever.
Yeah.
The story was originally a 3-parter, but was expanded at the request of producers to 4 episodes. I'm sure we'll discuss that as we go through as to whether we think that was a good idea or not. A little bit ironic of producer involvement in a story like this.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The Whiz Kid he's a bit of an interesting character. I'm not gonna lie, I missed this the first time I watched it. But I think particularly after watching Ncuti Gatwa's run on Doctor Who recently, the fact that Whiz Kid is essentially a parody of Doctor Who fans really stands out more to me now. I think it just completely blew by me the first time. But his statement that the psychic circus is not what it used to be. It was supposed to be a sort of meta reference to the belief by Doctor Who fans that the show had dropped in quality by this point in the run. And the way that he was idolizing Cook was the way that kids used to idolize the Doctor, and so on and so forth. We're not going to be discussing WizKid as a character, but I don't know if you're going to have any thoughts on him in your overall.
Yeah, no, I think okay, there is a way to parody fandom. There's a way to parody fans. There are 2 times, or maybe 3 times in Doctor Who that I can think of. And I think only one of them is done well. The other thing I was associated with was Stephen Moffat, but his treatment of Sherlock fans. Yeah, so there are times where I'm going, okay, you're kind of just being an asshole to fans. I think there's one time they can think of that I was sort of I'm okay with that. But I think in terms of when it comes to Doctor Who, I think it is really handled very poorly. And I think the sorors kind of come across as assholes when you do it.
Yeah, I think in this one you could choose to disregard him if you wanted to. The way he's dressed and stuff like that, you could sort of equate him just to being
a geek.
A geek, yeah, and it kind of works. I'm of the opinion that shows should not be making fun of their fans in any capacity. Personally, I just think it's bad form. I think the only show that's really done it justice is Strange New Worlds / Lower Decks, when they had the Lower Decks crossover. Because essentially Mariner and Boimler were representing us being on the Enterprise.
I didn't mind when Supernatural did it. I thought Supernatural... No, granted that I haven't...
Oh, the fanfic and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I thought
that's different, but I think when you go into parody like this, or like I said, when they did it in the Shooty era, I think it was just a bit too bonk in the head.
The Shooty era, I think,
I think they were trying to correct this type of thing and they just shot too far in the other direction. And the Sherlock thing, Moffat can go fucking swing. He's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
So for the sleight of hand tricks, Sylvester McCoy was coached in magic by Geoffrey Durham, who is otherwise known as the Great Soprendo, as the first time that a magic consultant had been involved in the production of a Doctor Who story since the uncredited contribution of Larry Barnes and Ali Bongo for the Tans of Wen Chiang back in 1977. So we have a little rap song that goes through this that is very Men in Tights. Very Men in Tights.
Yeah, it is incredibly Men in Tights.
This is the first original song commissioned for Doctor Who since the King's Song and the King's Demons. And the next original song wouldn't be until Song for 10 during the Christmas invasion. So there's a big explosion at the end of this. Sylvester McCoy kind of gets his Joker moment, but better in a way. Sylvester was told that he wouldn't need to walk too far of a distance, but the bulk of the explosion would actually be provided by special effects. However, the pyrotechnic guys over-rigged the arena a bit. The resulting explosion was much larger than the crew anticipated, and Sylvester got caught in the heat blast, and actually some parts of his clothes actually caught fire a little bit. He continued walking away unfazed because he knew there wouldn't be any retakes, and so he just did it. But apparently, bits of his clothes and stuff had been impacted. This is the first time we've seen the TARDIS interior since Dragonflyer, which is true. It's the only appearance of the interior in this season as well. So for the Chief Clown's mannerisms, the little wave whenever fucking anything happens, the different vocal tones on who he's talking to, the eyes. Ian Reddington, who played the Chief Clown, he came up with a lot of that himself. That was him sort of imbuing that into the character.
This is how effective he is now in this role. Not spoilers, okay? You never saw this episode when I first saw it. And I did the whole, hand wave smile. And you said, never do that again. Without ever having seen the fucking story or what the guy looked like.
It's really off-putting. It's really off-putting. He did it really well.
Yeah.
but it's really off-putting.
Yeah, this is like that's up for me. I think that's up there with your sweet Ron reaction.
Yeah, no, just
Yeah.
don't. Like Ace and me, Sophie Aldred is actually afraid of clowns. So I mean, I would just leave. Like,
Yeah.
no, sorry. You may have assumed that because Sylvester McCoy is Sylvester McCoy, that he could juggle.
Mhm.
No, he didn't know how to juggle. So they assumed he could.
Yeah.
And they only discovered at the last minute that he actually couldn't. So that was all very, on the spot or whatever. Because obviously the filming schedule was quite hurried and they were filming inside this huge fuck off tent in hot weather, temper started to fray a little bit. According to Sophie Aldred, one of the production managers, Gary Downey, snapped at her and she had to sort of go excuse herself for a quick cry in the toilets. He did later apologise,
Right.
but it sort of wasn't good. I've mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it again. The sequence of stories is out of order from how they were originally meant to run. This is because they really wanted Silver Nemesis to be broadcast on the exact day of Doctor Who's 25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And the Summer Olympics had delayed the schedule a bit, so they had to rejig things.
Mm-hmm.
This creates a weird continuity error, particularly if you watch these stories back to back, where Ace keeps banging on about her backpack, or her rucksack as she calls it. Asking where her Nitro 9 is, asking where her rucksack is. She blew up the rucksack
Yeah.
in the previous story. So for her to now be constantly looking for it, it just comes across really, really weird. So there's a scene where the head clown or chief clown, whatever you want to call him, leans into a cage to talk to Captain Cook. And you have the vertical sliding cage door thing. It slammed down on Ian's head and caused him to break 2 of his teeth.
Jesus Christ.
However, they were so far behind schedule that they literally had to carry on filming for the day before they could set him off to get some help. According to Ian, as he was let off set later on, he heard one of the wire operators say, "I told you that would happen."
Fair fucks them. Like that. That's not a nice thing to happen.
So the lovely dessert thing that the Doctor and Ace eat was going to be pineapples. It was made of custard and sweet corn.
Ugh.
Yeah, so people were going like, "Oh, fish fingers and custard." No, custard and sweet corn.
No, fuck that.
Yeah. Put me off custard forever. The whole idea of a circus setting was suggested by John Nathan Turner. He was thinking that filming could take place at Longleat House, which was the home of the Doctor Who exhibition since 1974, and he could set something on a fairground, because there was a fairground there. But he went off the idea as he spoke it out loud. So as he was talking through it, he went, "Actually, no." Much to the relief of Andrew Cartman and Stephen Wyatt, who thought it was a terrible idea. Jonathan Turner also proposed the title of the story, which actually, up until the Doctor, the Wardrobe, and whatever, I can't remember what the story is. The Matt Smith story. This was the story with the longest title, apparently.
Yeah.
The greatest show in 6 words. The Dalek invasion of Earth is 5 words.
All right. The Wedding of Raper Song. So what's the Matt Smith one?
It's the Doctor, the
the
Wardrobe.
The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what it's called. But yeah. So the relationship between Captain Cook and Mags was toned down so people wouldn't question the Doctor and his young companion's relationship. I'm going to take that with a pinch of salt. I'll talk about that more later on. I think the whole point of it was to hold a mirror up to the Doctor-companion relationship and highlight what it isn't. And allow the Doctor and Ace to showcase what it is. But perhaps in the original script it was a bit more this was. And so they decided to tone it down. the bus that was in the quarry. Yeah. They couldn't afford to move it once they got it there. So they got approval to just leave it there. The BBC, everybody. The BBC.
Yep.
There are obviously a lot of clowns. A lot of clowns in the story. You have the head clown or chief clown, whatever to call him. You have the robotic clowns. And then you have the clowns who perform outside the circus itself. So the guy on like the unicycle, the guy on the wire. All the outside circus clowns doing actual circus tricks were all performed by one person. Professional circus performer named Alan Heap. He would just change costumes between takes, and they'd shoot another one, and he'd do another bit, and then he'd change and do a different bit.
Yeah.
But it was very cool. So on to our cast. As Captain Cook, we have T.P. McKenna, only Doctor Who acting credit for T.P. Non-Who credits include Callan, The Avengers, Inspector Morse, and The Chief. T.P. McKenna passed away in 2011.
Or as I know him from the wonderfully underrated 80s action movie Red Scorpion with Dolph Lundgren.
I was going to write in Red Scorpion, but I had no clue what the fuck it was.
It's amazing. Dolph Lundgren of He-Man and Rocky IV fame plays like an ex-Spetsnaz guy who helps a African revolutionary group fight back against the Russian invasion. So T.P. McKenna, an Irishman, plays a Russian general. It is fucking wonderfully 80s cheese. It's awesome.
Cool. On to Mags, we have Jessica Martin, only on-screen credit for Jessica in Doctor Who. Though she did later provide the voice of Queen Elizabeth II in Voyage of the Damned, and she also did a number of Big Finish stories. Her non-Who credits also include Splitting Image, where she played Princess Diana and Queen Elizabeth and a number of other characters, and she's done a wide variety of voice work, including video games and stuff like that. The Ringmaster is played by Rico Ross. Only on-screen Doctor Who credit for Rico. However, he and the remainder of the sort of circus cast did reprise their characters in the musical audio story Children of the Circus. I'm not going to keep repeating that every time. They all came back for it. His non-Who credits include Hill Street Blues, Jeeves and Wooster, Gulliver's Travels, Highlander, Mission Impossible, Babylon 5, and Aliens.
Yeah.
The chief clown, or the head clown, as we said, is played by Ian Reddington, only on-screen Doctor Who credit for Ian. He also did several audio stories, not just the one I mentioned above. Non-Who credits for himself includes EastEnders, Coronation Street, Highlander, Zoe and the Astronaut, Vera, and Outlander. Bellboy is played by Christopher Gard, only Doctor Who credit for Christopher. See previous comment. Non-Who credits include David Copperfield, Jack O'Norrie, and Casualty, as well as the 1978 animated version of The Lord of the Rings, where he was the voice of Frodo.
Oh.
Yeah. Morgana is played by Deborah Manship, only Doctor Who acting credit for Deborah. Her non-Who credits include Angels, Star Cops, and The District Nurse. Deadbeat is played by Chris Jury, only Doctor Who credit for Chris. His non-Who credits include Lovejoy, EastEnders, Coronation Street, and Doctors. Now, on to characters that we're not going to really be talking about. I'm going to assume one of these in something I'll explain a little bit later. So as Flower Child, we have Dee Sadler, only Doctor Who acting credit for Dee. Her non-Who credits include No Place Like Home, Casualty, All Creatures Great and Small, The Bill, and King Lear. As the Stalls Lady, we have Peggy Mount, only Doctor Who acting credit for Peggy. Her non-Who credits include Dry Rot, Oliver, You Only Live Twice, and It's Never Too Late. Peggy passed away in 2001. As WizKid, we have Gian Samarco. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Only Doctor Who acting credit for himself. His non-Who credits include The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4, and its follow-up, The Growing Pains of Adrian Mole, and he also was a presenter on the show Get Fresh. Lastly, as Nord, we have Daniel Peacock, only Doctor Who acting credit for Daniel. His non-Who credits include Quadrophenia, Porridge, Gandhi, The Comic Strip Presents, Only Fools and Horses, One Foot in the Grave, and Foyle's War.
And don't forget Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
True. Yep. He was also in that.
He's bull in that.
Yeah. I will just say now, the reason why I had a question mark on Flower Child is because, as people will know, Paddy sends me the list of characters that we're going to discuss, because Paddy usually watches the episodes before me because he has to do the summary, so it takes him a bit longer to watch it. He sent me, hey, we're going to be discussing Cook, Mags, the Circus, and the Gods of Ragnarok. And we will do trivia for Stall Lady, Wizkid, and Nord.
Yeah.
To which my read was, the Circus is a fucking person now.
So, yes, I don't think we'll be discussing Flower Child, but everyone else we will probably discuss.
Yes.
Okay.
Next time, be specific.
Yeah. Because, like, I remember, like, there was, like, that time when we were doing, it was the Web of Fear. And I did, because before I used to do it, but I used to give Trish the names, it would go in order of sequence. So Doctor, Companions, Prominent, Villains. And I had one person, I had the sergeant who gets taken over. I had him lower down the list, and you were like going, well, thanks for the fucking spoiler. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Next time, I'll be better.
You better.
Oh.
Okay, we have done the story summary. Thank you very much, Paddington. And we have done the trivia. Thank you very much, me. Now we're on to the bones of Time Traveling Team, which is the character discussion. Again, for those of you who may be new, me and Paddy like characters.
Yes.
Characters is our thing. We know the special effects are a little bit naff. 99% of the time, that doesn't matter.
No.
See last week for the 1% where it did matter.
Yes.
But for us, character is key to a great Doctor Who story. So we're going to be discussing the Doctor. Companions? Question mark? Are you putting Mags in as a story-based companion, or are you leaving her?
No, I will. I'll put her in as a story-based companion.
Cool. So we have companions of Ace and story-based companion of Mags. Prominent characters.
I would put the circus folk as prominent characters, but obviously we'll leave the chief clown till last in that discussion group.
Yes.
And then for villains, the Gods of Ragnarok, and I would also put in Cook.
Yes, in a way. I would say that Cook and the chief clown kind of go together.
Yeah. Chief clown more so, but it would be kind of weird to break up circus folk and then because the thing with the circus is we'll probably discuss them en masse because there's not enough in each of them to warrant their own individual discussion, but part of the collective of the circus. I think that's where I kind of was leaning towards with that side of things.
You could have said the circus folk.
Yes.
As opposed to circus.
Yeah, that would have been better. Okay, look, I've learned my lesson.
But anyway, the way it works is the person who reads out the social information is the person who goes first, because for months and months and months, we could never decide who was going to go first, and that is the rule that we decided on. So, Paddington, that was you. So, I'm going to put it to you. What did you think of the Doctor this time around?
No, I'm going to, like, as long-term listeners know as well, I sometimes will sound like a broken record as I go through the characters and talk about story elements with the characters. So I'm going to say something at the top, and that will pepper it throughout. I would have loved to have heard this as a Big Finish audio drama rather than a televised serial.
Kenpo.
Because...
For those of you who don't know what Kenpo means.
Because the aesthetic and the tone, I think it lends itself, like, don't get me wrong, it's good as a televised story, but I think the aesthetic of it, the dark tone, and like the very minimalist working environment they had, and some really good performances, I think that would have been a great Big Finish to let your mind fill in gaps and do a bit of wandering. I think it's the first time we've done one of these where I would have kind of gone, what? I would have loved this as a audio side of things. So to the Doctor. I really like stories where the Doctor has a massive sense of buyer's remorse as the story goes on. Because here it is, he's all gung ho to go for the psychic circus. He's all going, I want to be a part of it, I want to perform, all that kind of stuff. And then as it goes on, it's, and like, at the end with the whole thing, I think circuses are a bit sinister now. As it goes on, the Doctor, he goes through a real spectrum of attitudes and emotions. So we're definitely seeing we're definitely seeing Dark Seven here, because primarily of how he handles Ace. Because there's a sense of she has to do these things because he wants, like, we're going here because I want to. Like, it's kind of like a selfish thing by the Doctor, and he really does kind of, not guilt, maybe it is a bit of guilt, but he makes her feel bad about not wanting to go, for being understandably fucking scared of circuses and the circus environment. But he challenges her in a really weird way, and I'm not a huge fan of it. All right, I'm not a huge fan of it when it comes to the interconnected thing with Ace, but as part of Dark Seven, I think it's interesting. It's fascinating. And as it goes on, his interactions with the other characters, particularly Mags, because like I've used the thing of going, oh, 7 and Ace are like a Mirror Darkly version of 1 and Vicky. Cook and Mags is like a fucking twisted version of the Mirror Darkly. And so when the Doctor pairs up with Mags, it's like, like stepping through that looking glass to try and pull the person back to the real world, almost, type thing. And a lot of the negative things that happen in this story are caused by the Doctor. Like, in the sense of what Mags goes through, possibly what WizKid goes through, and the elements of like what, like, and not the elements, but like obviously what Ace goes through as well. Like, Ace's own hero's journey here is a direct result because of the Doctor's attitude towards things. And his interactions with Cook are interesting to watch, because any other Doctor would have kicked Cook to the curb. That's a lot of sounds. Would have kicked him to the curb almost immediately after the first trick that he pulled on Nord, or after Cook captures them again. He's repeated, like, bringing Cook into the fold. This case of no, this is the fucking fool you want, shame on you type thing, or fool, that type of thing. So yeah, and I think at the end of it, I'm like, you got what you deserved, but everyone else suffered because of it. If that makes sense.
How do you think he caused WizKids downfall?
Oh, he caused WizKid's downfall because of the fact that he let Cook, like, because he kept Cook involved in things. Like, after he first saw him trick Nord, fair enough. But then, as part of the recapturing, it's like, okay, Cook cannot be fucking trusted. Cook has to be dealt with.
How?
Some way. I don't know how. But
I'm going to challenge you on that one, because what would you have had him do? Exactly. Like, WizKid's downfall is not on the Doctor. That is not the Doctor's fault.
No,
that is Cook's fault, 100%.
Yeah, it is. But I suppose that's the. Do you know what? I think I'm being tempered by a book I recently read, so I have to kind of park them. It's where the action of one person causes a snowball effect that causes untold devastation for everyone else because of this one action of, you would say, decency. The fucking cumulative effect as it goes on is catastrophic. So yeah, okay, paring that back, yeah, I will acknowledge that, but I think because I'll go to the other thing I have is with Mags and what happens to Mags. I blame the Doctor for that, but I think
Why?
because he clearly didn't want Mags to be responsible for killing someone. But again, this is like whatever about the WizKid thing, but now it's a sense of, okay, the three of them are back together in the cell, and Cook will fuck over anyone. Why do you still trust him in this final plan? Because then when they go out to the thing, Cook turns on them, and then Mags transforms, and it eventually ends up being to Cook's death. But the way that the Doctor goes about going, no, Mags, don't do it, whatever, I put that on him because of his refusal to deal with Cook before that.
But you don't know how he could have dealt. I'm only challenging it because I think you're being a bit unfair.
Okay.
To the Doctor and the Son, particularly in relation to Cook.
Right.
Because I think how you think he sees Cook is framing how you see everything else. Because he doesn't fucking trust Cook at all. He doesn't like him from the minute he called Mags a specimen.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he keeps talking to him is because he's fucking there. And Cook seems to have marginally more information than the Doctor has. And in regards to the bit at the end, Cook is still a prisoner.
Yeah.
He's an asshole, but he's still a prisoner. And the Doctor doesn't know that Mags is a werewolf.
Oh, I know, but like if you have a plan to try and get out of the circus, and Cook just seems.
So what was he meant to do? Leave him behind?
Yeah, just leave him in the cell until such a time as until the Doctor can figure out how to either defeat the big bad or come up with a way to incapacitate them so that they can all escape. Don't bring him into the plan. Bring him out as a result of the plan succeeding.
I don't see how that could work. Because it either goes one or two ways. Either something happens to Cook and the Doctor never forgives himself. He left him in a cage. They all escaped. Thing went boom. And fucking Cook was left behind. Right? Or Cook does what he's done already. He sells them out. He becomes their enemy and whatever. The only way to save everybody, which is what the Doctor tries to do, is for them all to leave together. Because what you're subtly implying is that the Doctor should have killed Cook earlier in the story, but you don't want to say that.
No. Kill him? No. Not
deal with him.
Yeah.
Without explaining how he's meant to deal with him. The only way to deal with him in a way that won't have the results that you saw on the show is to kill him earlier.
No, don't kill him, but just incapacitate him in a way that takes him off the board.
Which would inevitably lead to his death.
Not necessarily. If you tie him up, you can leave him stuck in a corner.
The tent exploded.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, and you know what I'm saying, and this is possibly one of those things where we're not going to.
I don't think we're going to agree on this one.
No, I don't think we're going to agree.
Sorry, I interrupted your flow. Anyway, keep going.
No, but it's one of those things where do I like the Doctor in this one? Not particularly. Do I like the arc of the Doctor? Yes. If that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah. Now over to you.
So I find the Doctor in this one interesting. Again, I think the arc stuff, completely agree with you. Where I find it interesting is on rewatches of this story, of which there have been 2, I find myself questioning what I thought I knew about the Doctor the first time I watched it. So the first time I watched it, I was particularly taken in by the Doctor when they were in the tent and he was being asked to perform, and he looks like a kid at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
On subsequent rewatch of it, though, I don't see this as the Doctor starting off with "I want to go to the circus" and ending up with "there's something wrong in the circus." I see him starting off with, "Oh, there's this weird junk mail thing. That's really fucking weird. Why is it talking back to her?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that needs to be investigated. And this is something that, particularly for Ace, is something that she needs to work through." Because he really sort of pushes her and manipulates her, sort of goading her with the whole fear thing and the fact that Ace has to be all fucking bravado and teenage rebellion and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He really sort of manipulates that to get her to agree to go. And like the whole way there, he's trying to keep goading her into going to this psychic circus. But we also get the sense that there's more to it than just he really wants to go to the fucking circus. Like, he fucking doesn't. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sure he likes circuses in a general sense. But I kind of sense that he knows something's wrong because when they're stood outside the tent, and this is where it places a really stupid cliffhanger. The cliffhangers in the story are horrendous, by the way.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're really badly timed. They're stood outside the tent, and he looks at her, he's like, "So Ace, are we going in or not?" And he leaves it to her, saying, "I've goaded you this far. But whether we face this or not is up to you." She gets to make that choice. He doesn't drag her in. Now, because she's Ace and she is Miss Teenage Rebellion and she has to be all bravado, of course, whatever. And also the clown is fucking there, goading them in. Yeah. But he has this sort of... He knows that Ace needs to confront her demons in order to grow as a person, but also I think he senses from the beginning that there's something fucking off about this because of the way the invitation behaved. That's what I picked up on my second rewatch of it. I didn't pick this up the previous time I watched it because Sylvester plays excited to go to a circus so well. But that's the thing. From my point of view, the minute the Doctor landed on that planet, he was performing. From the minute he stepped out of the TARDIS. The whole thing was a performance. That's my view on it. In terms of the rest of his interactions with Ace, again, we have the double-sided thing up. He is a bit biting with her. I mean, he feeds her this time. But he is a bit harsh with her. Pushing her to sort of, in some ways, going to push her to cop on a small bit, like, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, we still see that inherent trust he has in her. And it's one of these things where, like it or hate it, he pushes her because he knows that what she can do. He pushes her because he trusts her to go off by herself and solve things, and he doesn't even have to worry. Like, he's stood there for the gods of Ragnarok, entertaining them, just looking at his watch, kind of going, "Okay, she'll be along soon." He doesn't know what it is she went to find, effectively, as in, like, he doesn't know what the outcome of that is, but he trusts her to come back and to have fulfilled her part of the mission so it can end. And there's that inherent trust that exists between them, which I think is really good. But here we get to see with that Dark Seven aspect of it, of how he uses that trust in his mind to help her be better. Now, whether she agrees that she fucking wants to be treated that way is a story, is a conversation for a different story. And you and I both know what story that is. In terms of his interactions with everybody else, again, my read of him and Cook is that initially he was like, okay, this guy's a bit dull, but whatever. But the minute Cook calls Mags a specimen, the Doctor's kind of like, huh? Well, I would never call Ace a specimen. And immediately, his feelings on the matter have changed. You know, and he's not pally pally with Cook anymore. His subsequent interactions with him, though, is that he keeps his distance so much as he can. We don't see the Doctor providing information to Cook. It's very much he's extracting information, and it all goes in one direction. I think where the Doctor failed in relation to Cook is I think he underestimated how insidious a person Cook actually is. I think he was so caught up in everything else that he wasn't paying attention to the small things. So, referring to Mags as a specimen, how he spoke about things. Again, he did the thing with Nord, which the Doctor clearly disapproves of.
Yeah.
You know, the Doctor didn't know what the outcome was until Nord went out and didn't come back. That was when he learned what the outcome was. If you don't perform well, he didn't know before that what the outcome was. But at the same time, he's like, there's something malevolent here, and we need to sort it out. So I think the Doctor couldn't leave Cook behind. I think also there was strength in numbers. Better to have Cook with him than against him, because ultimately Cook was also a prisoner. You know, Cook came back with the Doctor, and they put him back in the cell again. So better to have 3 of them trying to escape than not. But I think where the Doctor went wrong, and I don't blame him for this because Cook is a horrible individual, is that he didn't realize how horrible an individual Cook was. And that is a misjudgment of character, but I don't think you can call it a failure, in my mind. So I quite liked the Doctor in this. I liked his interactions with Deadbeat / Kingpin. I thought were really good. More so it was interactions with Deadbeat I thought were really good. I think I love the way Sylvester says the word Ragnarok with all of his
R's.
rolled R's. It's brilliant. So I thought his interactions with Deadbeat were good. I thought his interactions with Mags were also quite good. Because again, you're showing that contrast of, I mean, it's funny because it almost feels like it's targeted at like the comments that we would make about Peter Davison.
Yeah.
Of how he treated his companions. And Sylvester kind of showing, no, this is how the Doctor treats companions. Do you know what I mean? It sort of felt a little bit like that was kind of targeted at us and our comments on previous Doctor companion dynamics. But yeah, so I think I don't not like the Doctor in the story in the same way that you do. I think there are moments where I think he's being a bit of a dick. Particularly with Ace, and it's only like a scene here and a scene there. It's not the entire story. It's a dabble and a dabble, whatever. But I think we're getting this insight into how this Doctor's mind works, and a lot of it's not for the greater good necessarily, but the greatest good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So like Ace's greatest good is kind of the driving force, rather than the greater good of the entire universe and whatever.
Yeah, no, because you were speaking, I was just thinking of my favorite arc of Dragon Ball Z, the Cell Game saga, where Goku realizes that his son is going to be more powerful than him, but his son is also like 12, 13, and he watches as his son gets battered the fuck out of by the main villain, and everyone else is kind of going, "What are you doing? Go save your son." And he's like, "No, it's going to be good. He's going to be awesome. Just watch it." So yeah, that's what he like. The whole kind of, this is for Ace's own good, like this trauma will turn her into the best version of herself that she could possibly be. That was all that was going through my head.
Yeah, and I think that is where he's coming from. Like he has, like in his mind, she has fears, but she is stronger than her fears, and he wants to show her that. It's just sometimes the way that he does it, aren't really, not really nice. So that was a very long way of saying that I did quite like the Doctor in this one. I like that. I think I know I said this previously, but I think because of the way the order was shifted around
Yeah.
of the stories, I think we can probably say that like season 25, right, season 25, this is the end of the pratfall.
Oh yeah.
And we're now into the Doctor as a character who is complex, who has his own way of seeing things. And we're getting that, as you said, quote unquote, Dark Seven arc, which I like because I love Sylvester and I love how physical he is. But the pratfally stuff sort of gets to a point where I'm sort of fucking sick of it. Do you know what I mean?
Like the tonal shift between Dragonfire and Remembrance of the Daleks it's night and day. Like, and
Yeah.
each like, and this is no, last week probably is not a great example of it. But like, if you think about what we've had in this season, we've had the Greatest Show in the Galaxy, we've had the Happiness Patrol, two bright and visually stimulating stories, but very very dark in their tones. So like here, yeah, like it's absolutely the season 24 and season 25, they're polar opposites in terms of their tone.
Yeah. If it was up to me, I would have done this. I know we're getting off track. We'll probably talk about this one in a row. I would have done this season as Silver Nemesis, Happiness Patrol, this, then Daleks. From a Doctor growth point of view. Because that makes a lot more sense in terms of the gradual removal of the pratfalliness into the sort of bigger thinking aspect of things. So you get the hint in Silver that you think is a one-off, and then it comes back a bit in this, and then you have it in Daleks.
I think I would have done Happiness Patrol first, because to go from Dragonfire to straight to you're going to stay in that box until I tell you that you're going to come out of that box in Silver Nemesis would have been fucking
I'll get maybe
yeah, huge leap. Yeah.
But either way, I would have put this second last and then Daleks last.
Yeah, because like late Ace's whole thing of did we do a good thing? Only time will tell.
That ties in a lot more with this sort of mentality.
Yes.
But I'm loving that we're getting into this.
Yeah.
Again,
and especially with my comments about Ace now. So are we moving on to Ace?
Yes, we can move on to Ace.
Okay, cool. So, for the first half of this story, it's a very muted performance from Ace, in the sense of she's in a way this is Sophie's most childlike performance for Ace. And which makes perfect sense about our restructure the stories, because if you think about the adolescent crush she has with your man and then getting stripped away, and then that childlike earnest did we do good type thing. So here it's her most childlike because of, I don't want to eat this food, I don't want to go to the circus, clowns are fucking creepy. And then even the way like she's walking on the road, with the Doctor, like where she has the arms out and like she's kind of balancing on the sand hill, it's a very childlike way of doing things. Or like when she finds Flower Chad's earring and he's like, "Oh, finders keepers, like you get to have it," that type of thing. So it's very kind of reactionary because she's being dragged along or by the Doctor or manipulated along the way the Doctor to go into this thing. The second, and like and she pals up with Mags as well, which I think is kind of cool because they both have similar vibes going. They're both, well, Mags has the appearance of an adolescent, so, and her aesthetic as well feels kind of very punk rock. So I think Ace would have liked that side of things. It's when we actually get into the second half and we go into the twisted web of the circus proper, is where that whole thing of, well, why does the Doctor not worry about Ace? And it's a case of, well, the Ace is one of those companions where the Doctor feels like he doesn't have to worry about her.
Mm.
And the emotional aspect of this story again is helped by Ace, because Ace talking to Bellboy.
Mm.
And we'll talk about it when we talk about the circus folk themselves, but we get a proper sense of what's lost
Mm.
in the circus because of Ace trying to bring Bellboy back to normality. And Bellboy's outcome, we feel more because of what happened with Ace. And like, even like, true Ace, Bellboy saves the day, because he trusts her with
The remote thing.
the remote control. So I like Ace in this story because, again, Sophie does a really good job of showing us the defiant side of her, but also the young, emotional, vulnerable side of her. And this is just another reason why Ace is one of my favorite companions across the entire 60 plus years of the show.
Mm. I agree. I mean, I particularly relate to Ace in this one, because clowns are fucking terrifying. They are horrendous, evil creatures, and I don't get why to this day. I mean, I don't like circuses anyway, but I fucking hate clowns.
Hmm.
And I say hate, and fear is also the other word that goes hand in hand with that. I agree with you that this is Ace at her most juvenile.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting development for her that, other than manipulating her into going to the circus so she can face this fear, the Doctor doesn't actually force any of the changes that Ace goes through
Mm-hmm.
in the story. Because there's another big change in Ace that we see here, which is how impressed she is by Nord and his rebellious nature and his bike.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes over and she's trying to show off a little bit, and like she's like, oh, like this. She finds him really cool. And
Yeah.
he's just a total dick.
Yeah.
Won't listen to her. And like it kind of comes off like really performative. And you can kind of see that she's sort of seeing that, like, while she initially admires the bravado and the style, through the story, you can see that she sees that it's just posturing. It's just fake. And I think it's her reason she doesn't need to do that. That's what she's been doing all along. Up until now, it's Grace, it's Ace with the baseball bat and the Nitro 9, and I'm not afraid of anything. Like, I can take anything. And she sort of realizes through the story that she is afraid, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Her being afraid doesn't mean she's not brave. Like, her bravery really comes from her emotional authenticity and her emotional connections, more so than it does this bravado she thinks she has to have. Which it's good that she's starting to realise that, particularly since she's been travelling with the Doctor this whole time, who doesn't do bravado.
Hmm.
Now, slightly different in his case, because, again, a conversation for a different episode around how he doesn't need to do bravado because she is his weaponized bravado. That's a whole different thing. But I like that exploration of her. Again, I love the way she is with Bellboy trying to draw him out. I wasn't a particular fan of the way she was initially with Deadbeat, because she kept using really mean ways of describing him.
Hmm.
Like, as far as she's concerned, Deadbeat is a fucking moron.
Hmm.
And while she doesn't use those exact words, obviously, she says words that are very similar.
Yeah.
I was like, why even bothering talking to him? I'm like, okay. She is still a 16-year-old judgmental kid.
Yeah.
Fair. No, she's not. She hasn't suddenly become this paragon of fucking like empathy and whatever. But it is her empathy that allows her to do what she does. And I love the fact that like she is, again, it's another story. It's very common for Ace and the Doctor. They're separate
Mm-hmm.
for a large portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she never stopped once, except to talk to
No.
Bellboy the
Mm-hmm.
entire time. She's running, she's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, she's eavesdropping, but she never runs away.
No.
And that's what makes her really interesting. And I think the big one of it is that when she's in that room where she meets Bellboy, and Bellboy's obviously hidden away, and she basically comes face to face with what is my worst fucking nightmare, which is also in a Sarah Jane Adventure story, which is robotic in this case, mannequin in the case of her, but like unalive clowns coming to life
Mm-hmm.
and trying to fucking kill you, which is my worst nightmare. And she doesn't scream out for help. She doesn't wait for rescue. She fights back.
Mm.
And again, it always comes down to her overcoming. And in this story, realizing that she doesn't need the bravado. She was scared out of her wits. And she still fought back. And that's who Ace is. And that's who Ace will be going forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was really good. I think it was interesting performances by Sophie. Again, the childishness of it at the beginning. Also, like Petal, like having to eat that is just
I don't fucking blame you.
no. Like Ace is 16, I'm 38. I'm like, no. Agree with you 100%. But then we have our story-based companion of
Mm-hmm.
Mags.
Yes. So, with Mags, I'm going to assume because of her lupine nature that there's some sort of like Wookiee life debt thing going on, in the sense of like she clearly has enough agency to do her own thing, but I'm curious as to see, is it like, is this where the mask fully slipped off of Cook, or had he? Because I feel like if they've been traveling for a while, and this is what he's always been like, she probably would have been well shot of him before they came there. But again, I'm assuming that because he says, without him she'd be dead, and maybe it's the fact that she looks young. I don't know. We don't know how old she is,
Mm.
but it's the case of she feels indebted to him to still be around him. I like Mags, I really do, because I like the way that she really kind of parts up with the Doctor, and immediately they have that whole she's on his wavelength. When they start bickering back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, I'm next. No, I'm next. I'm next. I'm next." I like her with Ace because it's like, oh, it's like when you strike up a conversation with people on a train or a bus, and just like, kind of, hey, how are you? And the kids are the ones that kind of get drawn together, that type of thing. So like, I'm not sure if Max is a character that would have been TARDIS worthy, but I liked her in this story because of the dynamic she had with the Doctor. And I kind of alluded to it earlier on, but I do feel sorry with the fact that I got the impression, I don't know whether it's me kind of, what's the word? Where you put something from your head into some, and it's
Projecting.
not this, yeah, projecting, thank you. Whether it's like this whole thing of killing people while you're in that state is kind of a taboo type thing. I don't know what it is, but just I get from the Doctor's whole thing of that not wanting Max to kill someone is a thing. And I get the impression that, like, when Megs would have reverted back to normal, realizing that what she did might have like sat very uneasily with her, weighed heavily on her. But again, because I think we go from that into the final act of the story, it's so frenetic and fast paced. We don't really get a chance to see what her sit with that. Even if maybe it's not a thing, maybe I am just projecting.
But I don't quite get what you mean.
Like I know, I don't know like what self would make.
Do you use
Like
the word taboo and stuff, and I'm not quite sure
no,
what you mean.
oh, in the sense of like, um, when you're in like there's like some kind of werewolf books and
Mm.
kind of depending on the mythology, when you're in your werewolf state, if you kill someone while you're in it, it's a social taboo. Like if you kill a human, like you can hunt, you can do whatever, but if you kill a human or a humanoid or whatever, it's a social taboo. And just the way that now maybe the doctor just didn't want her to kill anyone in general, or maybe whatever, but just his reaction to her killing Cook, I just picked up on that vibe from it. I don't know. I don't know why.
I think you're reading too much into it.
Yeah, that's what I'm projecting.
Because just maybe we don't get enough of a background on her species in
Yeah.
general. My read of that was the doctor knows the Mags he's been with the whole time is who Mags really is and who Mags wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want her to be a killer and to have
Yeah.
to live with that guilt. I don't think there's anything to do with social taboos or
Yeah.
anything else. I think that's a bit
Yeah.
beyond
Do you want,
whatever.
maybe it's a bit more of fucking Prisoner of Azkaban type deal when Remus or when Sirius tries to stop Remus, when he turns into the werewolf and he's like, this isn't who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No. I other than just like I like Max. I did.
Yeah.
Like I liked her dynamic with the Doctor. I thought it was really good.
I do too. So my thing with Mags and my read of the Mags Cook relationship is that she's his pet. And I don't think she has the agency to leave. Because initially she appears quite timid and very dependent on him. And the word that comes to mind there is pet.
Yeah.
Given the fact that he refers to her as a specimen.
Mm-hmm.
Or slave if we choose to see her as a person. But certainly prisoner of some sort. And I think one of the journeys that we see through this story, we see this journey with Ace, we also see it with Mags, is she knows what a horrible person Cook is. She tries to speak about it, she tries to warn, but he does have a power over her. And, what that power is, we're not 100% sure because it's not given the story, but the idea that she's a werewolf, that she would be feared, she would be shunned, she would be imprisoned. We don't know how long they've been together.
Yeah.
And how much he's been poisoning her to believe, well, if it wasn't for me, you'd be on display in a museum.
Yeah.
Or you would have been hunted and shot. Or whatever. But here the doctor just sees her as a person. The doctor and Ace don't have this dynamic that she and Cook have. And she sees how, when it really comes down to it at the end, Cook will do anything. And he does sort of imply that he will do anything. And the way he says it to her, the unspoken line is, including using you. So she knows once they're in that cage, they're now on a timeline.
Yeah.
Before he uses her as a weapon against other people. And that's where she starts building her backbone and starts pushing it big. And because the doctor is so open to it, she has this proper mentorship and proper support system there. So even though, like I said, she comes across as quite timid and dependent, she also comes across as quite cynical as well.
Yeah.
Well, we can see that that's not who she really is. And the doctor, well, we don't know, it's for a second, but like the way she reacts to Bellboy's punishment
Hmm.
shows that she's not like Cook. She
Yeah.
could never have been like him, which means that the only reason she's still with him is because she cannot leave. And that may
Yeah.
just be the fact that she does not have the means,
Hmm.
or she's terrified
Yeah.
to leave. Because, again, people will shun her. She might do something terrible and regret it, kill someone, hurt someone, whatever. But the reason why I sort of pause there for a second is, so when she screams, we know Ace hears it.
Yeah.
The doctor claims not to hear it.
Hmm.
I'm going to use the word claims because we don't fucking know, because we, the audience, don't hear it outside the tent.
Yeah.
So we don't know if he can't hear it,
Hmm.
or if he's saying he can't hear it as a way of sort of challenging Ace to be like,
Yeah.
you're afraid of clowns, you're hearing a scream, are you going to overcome and push through?
Hmm.
Because if he did hear it, then that's probably why he connects with her so readily when they're in the cage, because he knows that she has some sort of emotion and he's not just a total bore. But yeah, I think, is she companion material? Maybe. Like, again, I don't think the two of them would need to travel with the doctor and stuff. I would rather she traveled with him than join the circus.
Yeah.
Because even she doesn't seem to want to do that.
Yeah. I've thought
And
that.
it's the one thing that's sort of at the end of the story. I was like, don't leave her there.
Yeah.
Like,
please. Yeah.
take her somewhere else. Because I fear that she's falling into that same pattern again of,
Mhm.
I'm a monster, this person doesn't see me as a monster, or sees my monster side in a good light, in the case of Kingpin. His name is fucking Kingpin. Like, maybe take that as a fucking clue.
Yeah.
And so she's going to stay and do a circus with him.
Mhm.
Didn't quite like that part.
No.
But speaking of Kingpin, we have our circus folk. So the clown we said we'll do last of the circus
Yeah.
people. So you have the ringmaster, bellboy, Morgana, and deadbeat / Kingpin.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it to you there which order you want to talk about them, or whether you want to just do them all in one go. I'll leave it up to you.
So what I'll do is, I've kind of got them broken down. So what I'll do is I'll go through my points for each of them, and then you can do your points for each of them, and then we'll probably segue then from you into Cook as always. So I'll do Kingpin first, then Morgana and the Ringmaster I've kind of gotten together, and then we'll do Bellboy. So Kingpin is, as the name dictates, is probably the leader of the circus. And when he gets his memory back, it made me think he's a bit of an asshole. Because the only person that he seems to mourn, well, once all is said and done, the only person he seems to mourn is the clown. And then, what I mean by that is, when all is said and done, and I forgot to say about the doctor has his cool, he has his cool guys don't look at back at explosions moment as he just like pimp walks out the fucking tent. My thing, the whole thing with Kingpin is that it's a case of, hey, come on, we're going to start a new circus. It's like, everyone that was in your previous circus and that was supposedly your friend is dead. And some of them in very horrible fashion. And you immediately want to start a new circus with strangers. Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure I like you. And like, because you get the thing of where clearly there was something about Segonax. It's like the legend of the planet and the legend of the circus are kind of tied together. But I get this. I don't know whether it's the fact that Rico Ross is in this, but I kind of get aliens vibes from this story, because imagine if Kingpin is Dallas, and then you've got the chief clown being Ash saying, "Oh, there's a signal coming from this planet. Be what might worth be looking at." A dissenting opinion, completely overshadowed by the cloud. Yeah, Kingpin, go on, do it, do it, do it. So yeah, Kingpin goes looking for something, and obviously it renders him not catatonic, but um, it reduces his faculties severely, where he's just essentially a servitor, and then everyone else around him suffers because of that, and then has to go into various degrees of coping. And I would be very interested now to hear the Big Finish Children of the Circus thing as a prequel. Because again, my lasting opinion of Kingpin from this is that I don't think he's a good person. He may have been a good circus leader, but I don't think he had everyone's interest in heart. Because as it goes on, Bellboy and Flower Child kind of like talked about it. We were this big family, but clearly Kingpin was the one that was calling the shots, and it was his way at the end of the day. With Morgana and the Ringmaster, to varying degrees, they seem to have made their peace with everything that's going on. And now they're in this weird Stockholm syndrome thing where we're trapped, but we've got to make the best of a bad situation from the Ringmaster's point of view. And like I said, so like we'll be absolutely massive. Like we were doing what Kingpin and the others couldn't do. Like we couldn't survive with this. They couldn't survive with this thing, but we're going to make it bigger, better than ever. And then you have Morgana at times questioning the efficacy of what they're doing. But then when it looks like the gods are angry, she's very much sort of, "Oh, I've been loyal to you, I'm still loyal to you, we'll get people in, don't you worry," type thing. So their their deaths, while done really for comedic purposes, with them being thrown into the big laundry hampers and then emerging as just dust, is kind of played for laughs, but it is quite sad as well. That's the way that
Hmm.
I found it. And then Bellboy, oh Jesus, fucking poor old Bellboy. He gives me this weird Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith type vibes, in the sense of like, this isn't what was meant to be. We were a family. We were meant to be a fun circus. We were meant to just live, laugh, love. Everyone that I love is gone now. Everything that I've lived for or worked on, even like my robots, my creations, they've been corrupted. They've been perverted, essentially. And his death is very haunting because he turns his corrupted creations back on himself because he has nothing to live for. And it's sad. And in a way, I'm glad that that happened completely out of earshot, like that there was no moment where like they hear Ace and them hear his screams and they look back or anything like that. I'm glad that they were completely gone when that happened, because that is the saddest part of this whole thing, is Bellboy's arc, essentially, which is losing everyone, helping the others come up with a way to potentially overcome the captor, and then just finishing himself off. So it's kind of sad. The clown, though, is definitely for me, the clown is the creepiest thing in this whole story. Obviously, he's the creepiest thing for you in the whole story.
Yes.
But I get the impression that he is like, again, as I said, he's like Ash almost in Alien, or like this worm tongue type character, because clearly he's, as the head of the clowns, he's in the upper tier of the management of the circus. I think he's the one like that, like whenever Kingpin would do something that maybe the others may not agree with, he was the first and foremost to kind of say, no, 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 like he's in charge, we'll do what you say. And at the end, when he confronts Kingpin, he's like, "You were too weak to handle this thing, but I'm perfectly fine being a servitor for it." And it's that very, "I'll gladly sit at the right hand of the devil than in his path" type thing. And everything like, phenomenal performance, I think, from Ian Reddington. Everything about the chief clown is unsettling, is oh, I'm trying the aesthetics around him, especially when he's wearing the Undertaker garb. It's so surreal, but at
Mm.
the same time, it's so creepy, off-putting, and sinister that I'm fully with Ace going, why are we stepping into this tent? Why are we following him? Yeah. So that is my thoughts on the circus folk.
Cool. So I will go in a slightly different order. I'll leave
Yeah.
Kingpin until after. So
Okay.
I'll do Bellboy first because I agree with you. Bellboy is the most tragic
Hmm.
of the group. Um, I think one of the reasons why is that he and Flower Child seem to have been the two most hippie-ish
Yeah.
out of the group. And they couldn't stand what they were doing. Again, it should all be love and peace and tranquility,
Mhm.
man. Do you know what I mean? Like, he even has fucking bell-bottom trousers on.
Yeah.
Like, he is all for that. And what he really represents is this crushed idealism
Mm.
of, even though now things are starting to change, you have these external forces coming in and trying to do good. He doesn't think Deadbeat will get his mind back. He doesn't think Morgana and the Ringmaster are going to come back. And he certainly doesn't think that the Chief Clown is going to come back. So even though, from a narrative point of view, I think for everyone except the Chief Clown, there is potential there for them to be released from this thing and go back.
Mm.
He doesn't think there is.
Hmm.
Because of the way that, understandably, the way that he has been treated. His friends tortured him.
Yep.
Which is horrendous. I find the idea of, because the other side part is obviously he created the technology that allows them to do it. He created the robot clowns. I don't know why the thing that he brought to a circus is his ability to create robots. Don't quite get the connection, but I haven't been to a circus since I was about 10 because I do not like them. So yeah, so I feel bad for him. But I also think that once Flower Child was gone, he didn't want to stay around
Yeah.
regardless. The Ringmaster and Morgana are interesting because I see the two of them slightly differently because they are the sort of middle of the road, but the Ringmaster is further down that road than Morgana is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Ringmaster, initially, he comes across as really flamboyant, he's singing his little entry song, he's all theatrics. But again, it becomes obvious quite quickly that a lot of that, it's just performance.
Mm-hmm.
And at the root of that performance is fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because he says to Morgana, and you said it like, oh, we'll be the biggest show that ever was. We'll be the greatest show in the galaxy.
Yeah.
They already were. What he's doing, he is doing out of fear because he doesn't want to die. And that is literally the crux of the matter. I think seeing him with Morgana is where you actually see that really coming true. The other thing is that, like, particularly for him, of this like initial grouping, what's most disturbing about him is how normalized the horror has become for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the one who sees it all the time.
Yeah.
Morgana's out front. She doesn't see it. Bellboy's out working on robots. He doesn't see it. Flower Child is making kites. She doesn't see it. The Chief Clown probably sees it, but he sees it all the time because that is his role. But what I find interesting is that he's not actually the ringmaster at this point in the story.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the part of the ringmaster, but the
Yeah.
true ringmaster is the clown.
Yep.
He just thinks he's the ringmaster. And then we have Morgana, and I do like her interactions with him. I like their interactions together.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see, again, that hint of these people were friends
Yeah.
before this all went to shit. And I think, we're saying that, like, Bellboy's like this crushed idealism. Flower Child's obviously this sort of, like, lost innocence.
Yeah.
We barely got to know her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Morgana is this fading soul. From the beginning, we can see she doesn't want to do this
Mm-hmm.
at all. Particularly when WizKid turns up.
Mm-hmm.
A child comes in and you can tell she's fucking terrified. And of course the clown comes in and forces everything through. So I think you were saying that, like, then she gets into like, oh, I was always on your side and whatever. That again is pure fear.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is, I think the circus got its name from Morgana. Because she's the one who reads the cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's the psychic circus.
Yeah.
Clowns aren't psychic. Robots aren't psychic. Ringmasters aren't psychic. So I think the circus got its name from her. She is the psychic circus. And she has the crystal ball connection to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the fact that she's still fully aware. So, like, the ringmaster is kind of numbing himself to it. The clown has gone gung-ho. Flower Child and Bellboy lost their minds and left. And obviously Kingpin's broken. Morgana is the one who is acutely aware and understands what they're doing at all times. And she clearly hates it.
Mm-hmm.
I think had they had the time to talk to her, I think it wouldn't have taken very long for her to be on the side of the Doctor and Ace and everybody else.
Yep.
Because in her heart she was. She didn't want this to happen anymore. She hated it. She wanted to leave, but couldn't.
Yeah. She was just afraid.
Yeah.
Afraid like that. Like,
which is totally legit. It's a totally legit reason for her to be where she is. I mean, does it excuse people doing shitty things? No. Does it explain why they felt they had to do the shitty thing? Yeah. Kingpin for me is an interesting one because I get the idea that at the beginning they were all friends.
Mm-hmm.
They were having success, but he, as the owner or the producer or whatever, was chasing that next big success. And he pushed them to come to this planet. And it all fell apart. I disagree with you on one thing in relation to how he reacts or doesn't react to his friends' deaths. The only one he actually sees is the clown. He knows the others are dead. He didn't witness it. And there is something about the fact that the clown is the most evil of all of them. And what do you say when your best friend turned out to be an evil psycho? They weren't always evil. He was once a good clown. And that's it. It doesn't excuse anything he did. It doesn't forgive him for all the shit that he did. It's just, he wasn't always this.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, he was a good clown. I'm sure had he seen the bodies of the others, we would have had a probably more visceral reaction there as well, but obviously he didn't see that. I do agree with you though. I think Max has walked into the exact same fucking situation again.
Yep.
And I would love to know what type of circus he's planning on doing with just two of them.
Yeah.
And then we have the clown.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what that character did.
Yep.
He is a clown. He can fuck off and die. But the interesting thing is, when he says to Kingpin, you weren't strong enough. I'm strong enough. The clown seeks power, and he is the true ringmaster. He's the one who brings everyone in without having to pay. He supersedes Morgana in her role of entry manager.
Mm-hmm.
He supersedes the Kingpin in choosing who goes in and who's going where.
Mm-hmm.
He supersedes everyone in the fact that it's him and his new battalion of robot clowns. And you get the sense that he's the one who turned the clowns against Bellboy. And it's whatever reason. He's a power-hungry lunatic who's been given this small amount of power by the gods of Ragnarok. And he's like, oh, this is fucking bank.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. My own little fiefdom. Yeah, they'll pretend that they're in charge. But no, we all know it's me. And he's just a dick.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's dead. So, lastly, we have the gods of Ragnarok themselves.
We forgot Cook.
Oh, we did forget Cook.
Yeah.
Oh, you prick. Go on about Cook, the prick.
Right. So, as we've been talking, I've made a realization why I've been maybe a bit off in the way I'm trying to get my point across. Is fantastic performance. I despise this character because I hate characters that do not get their comeuppance for however long, and shit continually falls apart around them. It's like fucking your man from Revenge of the Cybermen, Caramel, I think. They fucking walk around, they preen, and they just waffle on with their constant stream of fucking bullshit. And no one just fucking gives them a right cross to the face or kicks them in the fucking knackers just to shut up. And so, like, poor fucking WizKid. Nord, like, as you say, look, it's fucking bravado. He's just an asshole. Like, it's just kind of bravado. But everything that fucking happens around him is as a result of this fucking just self-important, manipulative fucking cunt that just seems to, yeah, exactly. That's how much I despise this character. And that's why, like, yeah, okay, maybe I unfairly laid everything that happened at the feet of the Doctor because of his refusal to at least just fucking knock him out, tie him up, throw him into the corner. My whole thing with Mags, what you said about her being like, he keeps poisoning her with this whole thing of going, if it's not for me, you're going to get shot. No one's going to understand you. No one's going to put up with you. Her shitty self-esteem and her inability to pull away from these things is continually poisoned by this fucking prick that just sits down and comments on stuff from the background. And fantastic performance to fucking basically get this visceral emotion out of me because of this fucking character. So yeah, as we were talking, I realized that everything that I've been kind of stumbling over or poorly getting across, or my fucking opinions on things, are colored because of how much I fucking hate Cook.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really a whole lot to say about Cook. He's an utter creep from the start.
Mm-hmm.
He appears charming and civilized. Oh dear boy, like, whoa. Yeah. He's this tea drinking explorer. He has polite mannerisms, measured speech, and it is so fucking fake. You can fucking detect it from a mile off. His whole defining trait is survival at any moral cost. Because it's not survival of the fittest. He keeps saying survival of the fittest. If he said it one more time, I'd be like, this episode isn't called survival. That's next season finale.
Yeah.
It's survival of the morally corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he basically represents. Is the morally corrupt who will do anything to save their own ass.
Mm.
And the fact that, like, in a way, his relationship with Mags was meant to be this sort of, this sort of Mirror Darkly type of vibe. What he kind of represents, in a way, is, well, colonialism, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Which I think is why I hate him, which is off the bat.
Yeah.
But also this particularly post, I mean, from Barry Letts era onwards, we entered the realm of the Doctor Who girl, right?
Yeah.
Katie Manning calls herself a Doctor Who girl, called Liz Lade a Doctor Who girl. And it became the thing.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't just people they travelled with, it was the girl on the side.
Yeah.
Right? And Cook represents the darkest underbelly of how that could be interpreted. Which is this controlling older man manipulating and using a young girl for his own satisfaction.
Yeah.
And then you hold that up and you have the Doctor, an older gentleman, traveling with the young girl, manipulating her. But the difference is, like we said, his is for the greatest good. Cook's is for Cook's good. So when you have people saying, you know, and I've seen this on boards over the years, being like, oh, you have, you know, say 3 and Joe, where, you know, the Doctor is however many hundreds of years old, but like you have this older grey-haired gentleman getting upset because this young thing is getting married. You know, and if you look at it through a certain lens, it comes across kind of icky.
Sure.
And that's not what Doctor Who is, but this sort of, I think, represents that lens. If we're looking at it from that meta sort of point of view of, this is what you're claiming he is. Clearly, this isn't what he is.
Yeah.
This is what he is. You're over on this side. The guy who's nice and, you know, is helping people and isn't morally corrupt, to quite the same extent. So yeah, I agree with you that he is a horrible person. I would have been very interested to see this storyline with the placements reversed. With it being Ace in the cage and the Doctor free roaming. Because Ace would have completely dismembered him.
Yep.
1,000,000%. We wouldn't have had to worry about him at the end because he would already have been in pieces.
Yes.
Because she would have cracked a fucking cup and cut his fucking throat. As would any number of our companions over the years. Look at you, Layla. But yeah, he is a dick. He is the worst. Him and the clown are tied for me for the worst of the human characters. But because the clown hides behind the fucking painted face, Cook doesn't. But at the same time, he is hiding behind this mask of the superior. Oh no.
He's a prototype Gilderoy Lockhart.
With the small difference of Gilderoy was incompetent.
Yeah. This
Cook
guy
clearly isn't.
Yeah.
Cook is who Gilderoy wanted to be.
Yeah.
But now we will go on to the Gods of Ragnarok.
Yes. Jesus Christ. Statler and Waldorf went a bit extreme, didn't they? Right. I felt they were more interesting in the build-up.
Me too.
The final revelation of them as it's really weird. They're called the gods of Ragnarok, yet they have a sort of weird Greek chorus feel to them. It's like, okay, cool, fair enough. We're getting our mythologies crossword here. I don't know. I've always had this impression of them anyway.
Hmm.
I got weird vibes of the Mara from them. You know, this whole kind of like weird family esque entity. And like I know that they were kind of going for like the gods of Ragnarok was kind of like the Norns more so than anything. Um, but I don't know, like I think it was more interesting when it was this malevolent psychic entity that had latched onto the circus for its own gain. Like they're sort of like a fucking like almost the animus, like in the sense of
Hmm.
like feed me more, feed me more. And the trio of like the family as a physical representation of that was cool. And then when it's like this, okay, cool, are these ancient beings that the Doctor has apparently been fighting for ages. And then, but then they're just like their physical reveal. I was like, didn't stick the landing for me
Yeah.
personally. So yeah, like the fear of what they are was great, was better than what they were.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think I would prefer it if it was just a malevolent entity that took over a family that had gone to see the circus,
Hmm.
and that family can now never leave. They're just stuck there, as hosts to this thing, and the different, again, going back to sort of Greek chorus type of thing. In a way, it kind of reminded me of that episode of TNG with the deaf ambassador
Yes.
who had his chorus that spoke for him, or
Mhm.
like translated for him, essentially.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. But I agree with you. The reveal of the actual gods of Ragnarok, I think it was the design let them down in the emptiness of the space.
Hmm.
I think for budget reasons, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And they should maybe have held back that reveal for a future story where maybe they'd have a bit more budget
Yeah.
to do it.
Hmm.
Um, but the concept of them, like the idea of it just being this family consuming suffering politely, is incredibly unsettling.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that like it's interesting that like this family and actually WizKid as well, they're not dressed in 80s dress.
No.
They're a bit more 40s,
Hmm.
you know, between 30s and 50s kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
There's a bit of an old era about them, which actually makes them even more unsettling.
Yeah.
um, but what's dangerous about them is that they're incapable of empathy, meaning the entertainment that they ask for will never actually satiate them.
Yeah.
And they will just keep asking for more and more and more.
Yeah.
And that's really fascinating. I would
Mhm.
have rather, like, that's something I would have liked to have seen in an arc
Yep.
and not just condensed into one single story. Because I think the reveal at the end, you could do that exact same ending, but with the three family people instead,
Hmm. Hmm.
and hold the grand reveal of what they really look like for a future story. And personally,
Yes.
I think that would have worked a bit better for me.
Yeah.
I think the budget didn't quite go far enough
No.
for that reveal to be good.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is the lighting. What you want is Sutek type lighting,
Yeah.
not big open amphitheater, which again felt kind of Greek.
Yep.
And also if you're going to use the word Ragnarok,
Hmm.
try and tie it into Norse in some
Yep.
fucking way. Like,
No.
even just subtly through the story, like,
Hmm.
don't have Mags called Mags.
Hmm.
Have her name be something Fenric-y, but woo,
Yeah. Yeah.
the,
Because like
they do tie on to that at some point. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, because like he sees the runes or he sees like
the
yeah,
markings, or whatever.
yeah, the markings and like going, oh, okay, cool. They could be any real kind of proto Celtic thing, but it's like the design of the gods themselves, and also like their you mentioned at the top of the episode, we don't always factor in like quality of special effects and set design, but their defeat or destruction, it was like a bit of a letdown because of the fact that it is just the statues just falling down. Like I would have preferred I don't know, a bit more movement.
It was they wasted the explosion on Sylvester's cool walkaway,
Yeah,
but also they wasted all the budget
yeah,
on like clown costumes because that medallion was so shit.
yeah,
Because also I was like, oh, it's an all-seeing eye,
yeah,
and like, but it kind of have a bit of an Egyptology, like Eye of
yeah.
Horus or Eye of
It,
Ra
it
type
did.
of vibe to it, and I was like, you're kind of just fucking all your mythologies, and maybe that's what they meant to do. Maybe it was meant to be this idea of all these different bits from mythology come from different places, but they did it really badly. If that's what they're trying to do,
No, because that would have been cool. But if that was the case, have each god look different.
yes.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I too thought that they just fucking raided the BBC period drama costume department for any old fucking tat will do.
Okay, I think we kind of started a little bit of our overall thoughts there to the end. Starting to sound like you know. Um, but
Because it's a bad one.
it's just a statement.
Yeah.
Neither positive nor negative. Just a statement. But now we come to the final part of the episode where we will give our thoughts on the story as a whole and give it a score out of 5. So, again, Paddy, as you did socials, my love, you get to go first.
Thank you. I think I gave a bit of a mixed bag throughout this story, and I think that kind of represents the story itself because it's a story of two halves, and the first half of it is a slow burn. It's got this weird minimalism that just adds to the overall eerie tone of the story. It's like a weird 80s new romantic synth video directed by David Lynch. Like,
It's very specific. I know
yeah,
what you mean, though, but it's very specific.
yeah, that's what came fucking through my mind, because also like a buddy of mine has been getting me or has been asking me to watch Twin Peaks, so I'm like, cool, I will try. So, um, as I said earlier at the start, I would love to have heard this as a Big Finish audio drama because I think the level of performances from the guest cast lend themselves. They sound like a really good Big Finish audio group. Um, there's a couple of things in here that like were kind of weird for me, and I think you answered one of them. Is like going in his routine. Why does the doctor keep looking at his watch? Because we never got any indication that he was on a time plan with Ace. And like there's like the weird expectation, like when he does his final trick with the sword, he has the sword outstretched for the medallion as if he's been expecting it to come all this time rather than just like fucking they managed to do it by the seat of their pants. Um but yeah, like I think overall I liked it. I did. Because we had some really good progression of the Doctor's arc. We've had another good strong showcasing from Ace. The themes surrounding the circus and its downfall and the fate of the characters is that horrible everything is a corrupted version of what it once was feel that you and I both seem to like with stuff. Great performances from Ian Reddington as the creepy ass clown and TP McKenna as a person that is now on my fucking top tier of you are on my shit list forever characters. Um so yeah, like I'm gonna go but like, as I said, it's let down by the ending reveal. Like the build up
Mm.
as to who the fucking overall villain is, and it's like talking about, whiz kids thing of, oh, it's not what it's like. You're not what you once were. I'm like going, when it comes to this villain, the animus still has you fucking beaten by a country mile. So I think I'm going to go to 3.5 out of 5.
Okay,
Yeah, there's
that's
like
good.
there's a lot of it there that I liked. Some stuff again, I I don't know. Like, I think it's just the overall reveal, and it was one of those things of where parts of it, the pacing just didn't click with me. Oh, but like again, strong support cast throughout the whole thing. Really enjoyed it, and character development from growth for our two mains. Yeah, we're there. So yeah, 3.5. I'm happy with that.
Okay. Um, I have a weird relationship with the story because conceptually I really like it.
Yeah.
Um, I like some of the hard questions that it asks, or like some of the challenges that it puts to our characters. I like the development of both Ace and the Doctor. I like the supporting cast and characters are interesting. I like the idea of the gods forcing us, like the idea that like the Doctor's like, oh, I've been fighting you for ages. Is are the gods meant to be critics
Hmm.
that you're constantly performing for in the hopes that you'll get good ratings?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I didn't like the meta commentary through WizKid. Personally, I just found it
Yeah.
really annoying.
Hmm.
And also the stall lady also contributed to that by saying that everyone who goes to the circus is a weirdo.
Hmm.
And in today's modern age where pop culture and nerddom is the norm,
Hmm.
you're weird if you haven't seen Star Wars. You're weird if you don't go to Marvel
Yeah.
movies. It's just a bit dated, to be
Yeah.
honest. And
You fuckers weren't there during the dark times for us.
we weren't.
Yeah.
Um, and I think one of the things about the whole meta commentary that gives me the ick is the same reason why I don't like the Big Bang Theory.
Hmm.
Don't make fun of your audience. You can have fun with your audience, but don't make fun.
Yeah.
And I think this is towing the line very finely between those two. Um, the other big issue I have with this story is the fucking clowns.
Yeah.
Personally, I hate things with clowns in it. I
Hmm.
don't like them. I just don't. If we ever get around to doing it, which I'm sure we will at some point, the Sarah Jane Adventures, Day the Clown, brilliant story.
Yeah.
Fucking hate watching it
Yeah.
because fucking clowns.
Yep.
Right?
And you also went in with that bias against Bradley Walsh when he was he started as the companion because you're like, fuck you, odd Bob.
Yeah, because he played a fucking clown.
Yeah.
I've never seen the new versions of it.
Yep.
If I see a clown pop up on something, I will deliberately look away. They just give me the fucking creeps. So, with all that in mind, I'm going to go with a 3
Hmm.
because I think it's a good story.
Yeah.
I don't like the the end bit. Like, and I would have rather that be held back. I would rather that be saved maybe for next season. I would have rather mm, if you couldn't do it well, I would have rather you just not done it. But I think it's actually an interesting story to watch. I think it's definitely for me the top two of the season.
Hmm.
So Daleks obviously comes first.
Yeah.
Um, and then this one comes in a very firm second place in my opinion. Will I be watching it again anytime soon? Probably not.
No.
But that is a personal. That isn't a story like unlike Silver Nemesis,
Yeah.
which was a story fucking problem that I just fucking hated, so I'll never watch it again. This is just it gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
So
And
I
I
don't
think
watch it.
maybe maybe subconsciously why I think it would be a good big Finish audio drama because you'd listen to it. You wouldn't have to see it.
Yeah, I like it better.
Yeah.
But again, there's the fucking circus music. It's like you and the thingy music that I won't do because it will. The snake charmer music.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Similar vibe. But yeah, I think it was a strong end to the season. Good beginning, good end, funny middle.
Yeah, like I do agree that I think putting Remembrance at the end would have been a really, really good fucking over
What a
really.
brilliant 25th year we've had type of thing.
Yeah, and like that whole do we do good, only time will tell. That like what a really kind of a statement is to say we're really changing things now.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like I think yeah, with Happiness Patrol and this, like okay, I completely agree that Silver Nemesis is on the bottom pile. I don't know whether I tie this with Happiness Patrol because again, they're both very heavy with the themes, and I like that. And obviously, they're both very colorful, but got severely dark undertones to them, and they're both performed well. So I don't know. I think it would flip on whatever I feel like in the day.
I did find it interesting that you said that, because you said it earlier that it's a very colorful story. It's actually, I don't know if I'd agree with you on that.
Well, okay, if you
Um,
like, if you like, the interior scenes are colorful.
yeah,
If you
but
go
those the colors are also quite flat and muted, though.
true, but
Like
you
a
can still
Winstead's vibrant.
maybe not vibrant, but at least you can tell like that there was color there once upon a time, even though it is faded
Yeah,
as part of the thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
And with Happiness Patrol, the only color is fucking pink and black.
yeah,
Um,
and the Licorice
and the
Road
Licorice
Horseman.
Horseman. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
no, I think it's a solid end to the season. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed, like when we were doing Silver Nemesis. I just hate that story so much.
mhm.
That, and because I had only seen this one like once before, I was a bit worried that it was going to end on a downer of a season because the season's so short.
Yep.
But I'm glad that it didn't. Now, for those of you keeping track, Paddy's score of 3.5. So Paddy has been scoring 0.5 higher than me all season, with the exception of Silver Nemesis, which I just gave a 0. Which, I kind of regretted it, like over the last week or so. Kind of go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have given it a 0, but I fucking give it now. So, fuck it.
Yeah.
So your average for the season is 3.19, which I think sounds fairly
Yeah.
reasonable. Mine is a 2.56. That is largely personal preference.
Yeah.
Rather than necessarily a critique of the season. I'm going to caveat it.
No, because again, like as we said, with Silver Nemesis, the Doctor and Ace are great in it. It's
The
everything
story
else.
set.
Yeah, everything else around them fails miserably.
Yeah. So, I don't want people walking away thinking like, oh, Tricia really hates Sylvester McCoy. No, I don't. I love Sylvester and Ace. I love Sylvester and Sophie. I love the Doctor and Ace. It's just Happiness Patrol just
But look,
wasn't great.
but it's like
And
your rating for this season is higher than my rating for last season because
true.
last season I gave Delta the Bannerman a fucking 0.
Yeah.
A very emphatic 0 because as I recall. So yeah, it needs more Kate O'Mara. But that is season 25.
Indeed it
Up
is.
up next, we are coming to technically the Ragnarok of the show, if you think about it, because it is the end times. We are starting the final season of the classic era, season 26. We are starting with the return of an old friend in Battlefield. So until then, guys, bye.
Bye.